जब मैं आपसे पैसे चुराता हूँ आप उसको एक्सटॉर्शन कहते हैं, अगर वही पैसे जब सरकार चुराती है आप उसको टैक्सेशन कहते हैं। मुझे पता है आप टैक्स को थेफ्ट नहीं मानते, बट मैं आपको कुछ बताना चाहता हूँ जिससे आपको नज़रअंदाज नहीं करना चाहिए। बात यह है कि गवर्नमेंट इज एंजॉयिंग मोनोपोली ऑन रोड्स रेलवेज। सो गवर्नमेंट रोड्स रेलवेज नहीं बनाती है, वो आउटसोर्स करती है। सो आप टैक्स किस बात के लिए पे कर रहे हैं? आपको ऐसे लगता होगा कि आप टैक्स रोड्स रेलवेज के लिए भर रहे हो, बट मैं आपको एक बात सच बताना चाहता हूँ, आप टैक्स इसलिए भर रहे हो बिकॉज आपको जेल जाने से डर लगता है। आपको ऐसा लगता हो कि आपके टैक्स मनी वहीं स्पेंड हो रहे हैं जहां सरकार चाहती है, बट मुझे एक किस्सा बता दो जहां पर सरकार ने आपसे पूछा हो कि वो आपके पैसे कहां स्पेंड करना चाहते हैं। तो इसी के वजह से सरकार अकाउंटेबल ही नहीं होती है। मुझे बता दो कि आपने किसी सरकार या सरकारी बाबू का कॉलर पकड़ा हो जहाँ पे आपने उनको बोला हो कि भैया मेरे टैक्स के पैसे गए कहाँ। पूरे सिस्टम में ये सिर्फ दादागिरी चालू है और कुछ नहीं है। इसको इकोनॉमिक्स में आप बोलोगे वन सेलर मेनी बायर्स, इसका मतलब होता है मोनोपोली, और सरकार वो दादागिरी करती ही है क्योंकि वो ही मोनोपोली एंजॉय करती है। सपोज आप 100 रुपया टैक्स भरते हो तो उसमें से आपको बेनिफिट मिलते भी कितने हैं। जस्ट अज्यूम करो कि आपने 100 रुपए भरे और आपको जब बेनिफिट 10 रुपए के मिले तो 90 रुपए गएगा। द कॉस्ट ऑफ पेइंग टैक्सेस इज हायर देन द बेनिफिट्स यू रिसीव। इसका मतलब यह है कि आप भले टैक्स कितना भी भर लो बट बेनिफिट्स तो आपको कम ही मिलते हैं। आपकी जिंदगी में टैक्सेस ज्यादा है, दोस्त कम है, और अगर ऐसे ही चलता रहा तो सब टैक्सेस इवेड करेंगे। मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि टैक्स इवेजन सही है, बट अगर इतने टैक्स रूल्स रहेंगे तो कौन इवेड नहीं करना चाहेगा। अगर आपको लग रहा है कि मैंने जो ये ग्राफिटी की है ये गलत है, मेरा मकसद ये था आपको बताना कि टैक्सेशन एक लीगल रॉबरी है, एक लीगल थेफ्ट है, और टैक्सेशन है थेफ्ट। अगर आपको फिर भी लग रहा है मैं गलत हूँ तो आपको शायद मॉरली इंट्रोस्पेक्ट अपने आप को करने की ज़रूरत है। अगर आपको लग रहा है कि उसके बावजूद भी मैं गलत हूँ तो मैं आपको सिर्फ यही कहूँगा कि आप google.com पे जाइए और टैक्सेशन इज थेफ्ट के नाम पे रिसर्च कीजिए। थैंक
The government can suck a dick. I don't really give a crap, Republican or Democrat. All of y'all can get attacked. On my voting ballot, I scratched out the candidates and wrote my name in every single field. Then I cast the shit. I don't give a fuck about the presidential race. I've been lied to enough, it's fucking up my mental state. Living in a virtual projection with sinful snakes. Everything we eat and touch is a little fake. I shank a cop, then pass the knife to K. Kirk.
Hey everybody, Stephen Clyde here. I hope you enjoyed today's episode with my good friend Jameen from India. We had a few audio and video problems and we recorded it late at night, so I was pretty tired, but I'm going to be having it back on soon anyway, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Hey everyone, back for another week. I'm always excited when I get the chance to talk to a libertarian from another country. And of course, in today's political climate, you have some people claiming that libertarianism is only for white males and therefore it necessarily excludes everyone else. And then you have so-called actual libertarians who fit that stereotype. So joining me today is a good friend, Jameen, and he's from Mumbai, India. And that's the commercial capital of India, by the way. He considers himself an anarcho-capitalist like myself. So you all will love this episode. Jameen, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, I'm obliged to you for inviting me in the show.
Absolutely. We've been friends on Facebook. I don't know if it's been a year or two, but I watched your taxation and theft graffiti video, which we all just saw before that. So I guess the first, just to start, just tell us about yourself. Tell us about yourself.
Well, namaste, first of all. And I am consider myself as anarcho-capitalist. I became anarcho-capitalist just a few years back, say 4 to 5 years back. Before that, I used to be a Marxian feminist, and I was literally not doing good. By being a Marxian feminist, I realized my mistake. Well, coming to professional life, I am a professor, and I'm pursuing my PhD in political science. And I think that's all about me. And I like to think. Thinking is my favorite hobby.
Well, that's awesome. That's a really good short answer. I mean, you're going for your PhD. I didn't know that. I mean, I guess I don't really know that much about you. I've seen your videos and we've been friends on Facebook, but I was just like, man, I really want to talk to somebody from a different country like India. So you've been at ANCAP longer than I have. I don't even know where to start here.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's anarcho-capitalist. I mean it's not so popular in India compared to US. I mean, if you look at US Constitution, you see some form of libertarian culture, libertarian thinking in your society, in your culture. But in India, we are truly socialistic. I mean, we are all born socialistic. So to transform yourself from socialistic to libertarian, I think it's a very Herculean task. It's a very big thing. I, as a professor, even try to tell my students about libertarianism thought because we are never introduced to such kind of concepts, and we are too much obsessed with government intervention. We cannot imagine our life without authoritarian things and all.
I was watching one of your videos and you were in front of a classroom talking to a bunch of people and you're holding up pictures of these crazy dictators and asking like, do you all know who these people are? And for the most part, no one, there was one guy in the back who knew about Mao, but he didn't know if you're as good or bad. Like, yeah, that's pretty bad if you don't at least know that Mao is a bad person, if you know Mao at all. So, I mean, it's, so you're saying in India, it's just a complete disconnect. It's just totally socialist.
Yeah, it is totally socialistic. Like since 1947, when we won independence from British, we had Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru as our first prime minister. He was a socialist, and he was very much influenced by political scientists known as Harold Lasky. And Harold Lasky used to be a socialist. After him, I mean, there were many other socialist prime ministers. I mean, the socialism is not only in our culture, it's also in our economic system, in our economic structure. Well, coming to that video, it was basically a social experiment with people. I wanted to test whether they are really, knowing some libertarian thinkers at all. But unfortunately, my hypothesis turned out to be factual. My findings turned out to be very conclusive. They are since birth, since colleges and since universities, we are always teaching our students about Mao, Marxist, Karl Marx and all. I mean, Karl Marx is more popular than any other libertarian thinkers in India.
Yeah, wow. I mean, India is a country that's always really fascinated me because I remember my dad, who's an engineer, by the way, he was telling me about a guy he used to work with who was from India. And he was basically telling me India, the only real language in India that connects everybody is English. And the reason for that is you have like 22, something like that, main languages, and you have over like 720 dialects. Now, for people who listening who don't know what a dialect is, if you speak a different dialect to somebody else, you can't understand them. That's the point. So, I mean, how has that affected you? Because have you experienced that a lot where, I guess the way my dad's friend was describing it is you could go almost down the street or to a different neighborhood and you can't talk to nobody.
Yeah, I mean, it's India is a regional country, to be very frank. We do not have one culture. We do not have one religion. I mean, there are 7-8 types of religions in India. Every 5 kilometers, you will see change in taste of water, culture, languages, and all. And it's a multiple democracy. So you will find, more people speaking different languages. Our culture is completely changing with every 1 mile. So I don't know what connects us. I think I feel that we are forced to connect because given us right to self-determination, I do not think India will be a united country because on caste basis, on religious basis, we are never united.
Now, looking at the world statistics, I mean, India, along with China, billions of people have been left out of poverty in the past, say, like 30 years. What do you think's been the biggest cause of that in India? I mean, do you think it's just been more a move toward freedom?
Yeah, actually, the way China is ahead of us is because in 1978, Deng Xiaoping liberalized, privatized, and globalized the economy. It was in the year 1978. Whereas India did the same thing. India introduced LPG reforms in 1991. So, China is like 15, 20 years ahead of us. And looking at the structure of governments, I think China has its own capitalism model. It does not imitate the Western characteristics. It has its own, model. Now, when you look at Indian capitalism model, I feel that it is a bit confusing. Sometimes I do not understand whether it's Indian characteristic or the Western characteristic. And most of the policymakers, most of the academicians have, their leanings towards socialism. So that makes capitalism in India quite confusing. And many people have very negative opinion about capitalism.
I guess one question I have is, and I'll just be honest, I don't really understand India that much. Do you all have like one president, or is there a lot of different regions in India? Like how is your political environment set up? I just don't understand at all.
Well, we have imitated parliamentary democracy from Westminster model from the Britishers. Even the parliament was made by the Britishers in India. Uh, I'm talking about the modern context. I'll go back to the ancient after a while.
Great.
Now, since 1947, we have been following parliamentary democracy, and we have like 29 states, 7 union territories. Most of these states are grounded on the basis of regional languages, on the basis of linguistics. Uh, Before all these regional languages, we had many provinces, we had many presidencies under the British rule, and even before British, we had a monarchy. So the monarchy in India continued for like around 3,000 years, 4,000 years. So this is why most of the Indians are very authoritarian in nature. Now, coming to your point on the model, I think we have president as a commander in chief, but more powerful than president is the prime minister. However, most of the important executive decisions are with the president. But however, the prime minister, is a functional minister, and under him we have many cabinet ministries, we have many secretaries, we have chief ministers at local level, we have corporators. So it's highly messed up. It's a big hierarchy, and so looking at this hierarchy, I feel that we are not a decentralized country yet. I mean, if we were decentralized, we would have overtaken China.
I feel like I have to tell the story about Gandhi because I don't think a lot of people know, and I'm sure you're aware. Salt over time, the salt, table salt. It's a huge economic market good, and it's always been over time. And when people tried to tax it, people have literally gone the war over it because my economics teacher was telling me in some countries, depriving someone of salt is actually a thing because your body needs salt. So like dying of salt deprivation, it'll just be like your body just goes into like convulsions or something like that. It's pretty crazy. But anyways, I think Gandhi led a march for that, and I forget where he led a bunch of people so they could go to the sea and make their own salt because of the salt tax. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I'm aware of it. He led a Dandi march to fight against the salt tax. The British inflated the tax rates of the salt, and if that would have been the condition, poor people would have been deprived of consuming salt. And salt is very important since it contains iodine and all. Other than in talking about Dandi March, I think Gandhi was anarcho-syndicalist. He never considered himself as a democrat or a socialist. He was not in favor of Indian state, and he was killed in 1948. He was murdered by a right-wing group. So Gandhi's legacy today, it is in a very different form. I mean, his families have overtaken the what do you say? They think they own this country. If you hear about Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, Indira Gandhi was a socialist. Her biggest mistake was that she imposed emergency. For 2 years, India experienced emergency from 1975 till 77, and she has nationalized. She was not in favor of privatization. So she had nationalized banks. Before her father Jawaharlal Nehru, who was the first prime minister of India, he had nationalized industries. So this is how the generation of socialism came into being in India.
Wow.
So unfortunately, the current Gandhi family is totally opposite of the Gandhian principles.
Yeah, I guess I was going to ask your opinion on Gandhi. It sounds like he had the non-aggression part down. At least he was non-violent, but he didn't really seek to live in a free type of world. He would rather just use non-violence to get the government to control everything, that doesn't really make sense. But
yeah, I mean, he's an unidentified libertarian. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he does not have any commentary or quotes on libertarianism, though he favored freedom, individual freedom a lot, social freedom a lot.
Now, tell me about the city you live in.
Well, my city, Mumbai, I think it's all because of modernization infused by the British administration long ago. And Mumbai, there were 7 islands that constituted Mumbai, and today it is a densely populated city in India. And we do not have direct election of mayor here, unfortunately. And Mumbai is one of the richest, municipal city. If you look at the budget comparing with Shanghai and Tokyo, Mumbai is the richest, but unfortunately, the standard of living, the condition is not so highly standardized as we create a hype at international level. I think London, New York, Singapore are far better than Mumbai.
Why is India unable to find liberty?
Well, the first reason is when you analyze from sociological level. I think our families, our communities, our religious communities, they are highly collective in the thinking. I mean, personal freedom, privacy, individual freedom does not matter a lot. I mean, even today, when you hug on the road, people make faces. I mean, even if you can't kiss on the road, but you can piss on the road. Unfortunately, that's the tragedy of a civilization. Then at schools and colleges, we are indoctrinated with collective thinking. We are never introduced to critical thinking or independent thinking. So that is how we create a cognitive culture. We create such a mentality that we are not able to find liberty. Then coming to the government and the media, I mean, it's the government media complex is so strong. The establishment is so strong. So there is no scope of collective thinking. So I think this is from sociological level. Now coming from economic level, I think. Due to government policies and due to years of invasions in India, starting from 1000 AD till now, we always had authoritarian models. So that is why our economy does not have capitalism characteristics, even if it may have. We have the highest GST rates, goods and service tax, which was recently introduced last year. So before that, we had many other types of indirect taxes. And in India, I would say that every individual has more taxes than friends in his life. So that makes us not to, not to find liberty at a very macro level.
Do you think the direction is going backwards or forwards? By forwards, towards more capitalism. Forwards.
Well, for those who favor government intervention, for them, the Indian economy is booming. I don't think it's booming. I think 6 to 7% of GDP rate does not guarantee that the economy is trickling down and the people are benefiting. I mean, most of the people here care about food, clothing, and shelter. They don't care about the significance and importance of liberty or individual liberty or economic liberty. Even if you look at a global index of India when it comes to say economic freedom, we rank very poor. It's around 130 out of 190 countries. When you talk about getting construction permit, India ranks 185 out of 190 countries. When you talk about freedom of speech and expression, when you talk about corruption, I think our international ranking are very poor. So, as a anarchist, I do not find our country going forward. I think when you talk about forward, I think every person who is responsible for his own actions, that is the first step towards forwardness. I mean, otherwise you're just living a life of myth.
Yeah. Well, we're actually recording. You're 12 hours ahead of me, I think. So I'm recording late at night, and you're recording early in the morning. So I want to have you back on maybe in a few weeks, so we could just go over some more questions when we're both. We both kind of just got together at the last second to do this, but I'm going to ask you one more question. Discuss your video Taxation with Theft with us, where you're out there graffitiing taxation as theft on public property, which I think is awesome. Public property is our property, right?
No, public property is the private property of the government.
Exactly, yeah.
So if public property is public property, I don't understand why would people pay property tax on the public property if the property is for the public. So there is a paradox. Public property is a paradox. Property can only be private. It can be only individually owned. A group cannot own a property. I mean, tomorrow you'll say, I own this woman, because it's a group thinking. So just because a group says does not mean it is always right. Now coming to taxation is theft, sorry for being narcissist. I think I'm the first Indian to propagate the idea called taxation as theft in India. We do not have Lysander Spooner, or we do not have Henry David Thoreau in India, though Gandhi was like a Henry David Thoreau. He was inspired by Henry David and Leo Tolstoy. But in the current scenario, to be a libertarian takes everything. I mean, it's very easy to be socialist, but to be difficult, I mean, it's very difficult to be a libertarian. So taxation is theft. I think I have borrowed it from Ron Paul and most from American libertarian friends like you, because it's really interesting. And on Twitter as well, I've been propagating taxation is theft, and it's like I feel very good. I feel very proud that I'm the first and the only Indian to make a T-shirt on taxation is theft, to make a graffiti video at 2 o'clock at night when the world was asleep. So I was trying to awaken the world. Yeah, that sounds cool. Let's look good. Yeah.
I got my taxation is theft shirt on too, brother.
Yeah, same here. Cheers for that. So, so I did this graffiti video. It was all of a sudden idea. I mean, I think extempo way. So I just called up my friend, hey buddy, will you shoot it? So he says, I'll shoot it, but I don't need the credit because, I don't want to name him since he does not disclose his identity. So I went out there. I bought the graffiti sprays. I spotted a good location. So basically, I didn't target any private property because I don't think private people, collect fees through force. I think it's the government that collects the fees through force, and good ideas don't require force. So if force is justified, then rape is also justified, right? So I'm trying my best to propagate this idea, and let's see how it goes. I hope I make a history.
Well, I'm curious. I'm curious if you ever go back near the spots where you've graffitied. Is it still there, or the government? I wonder if the government gets their own graffiti. Like, oh, we got to cover this up.
Yeah, I mean, there were cops around it, and I was trying my best to escape it. There were two cops who inquired me individually that what are you doing and all. They didn't see what I'm doing. They just saw I'm just roaming the city at night, and I deluded them. I mean, if they can delude the whole system, there's nothing wrong if I delude them back.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's graffiti all over in all cities. In Denver, there's plenty of graffiti. At least you're propagating an idea that's worth, looking into. Maybe one person will see that, and we'll have another Jamie walking around India because, if you're the only guy out there, man, we've got to get the ball rolling, man. That's why I wanted to talk to you because I think your story is so interesting. So, can I have you back on in maybe a week or two, and maybe we'll just, do this all again?
Yeah, surely, Steven. It's really good to talk to you.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, we'll do it again when I have more energy, when it's a better time. But it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, man. So thanks a bunch, Jamie, and we'll see you next time.
Surely. Have a good night.
All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey, everyone. Please like, follow, donate, subscribe, and share. Any donations will be used to reach more people.